Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to share my very personal hair loss and hair regrowth journey with you. Quick disclaimer, I am not selling anything. I'm not promoting. I'm not promoting any products of any kind. I'm just sharing my personal story. Um, and I'm going to do so while I play a little Minecraft. So if you hate Minecraft, like some people let me know in the last video, this isn't for you. But I'm going to play a little Minecraft while I talk to y'all. So um, disclaimer out of the way, I'm not a doctor. Always seek medical professional care. Here's the pictures. Here's what my hair used to look like, or what my scalp used to look like, to be more accurate. And this is it about 2 months ago. I need a more recent picture because it's actually gotten darker and denser since then. So it's a little better now. That little divot in the middle has filled in nicely. So for the most part. Um, but yeah, so let's just dive into it. Um, yeah, I was about 18 or 19 years old when I started losing my hair. It was coming out in clumps, like it was building up around the drain. It was on my pillow. It was just getting everywhere, and it was terrifying. I thought I was going to be completely bald by the time I was 25. That's how much it was coming out. Thankfully, it did stop. I suspect that, well, it slowed. Let's put it that way. It drastically slowed. Um, but I was steady losing hair, from then till now. And um, it wasn't until about my late 20s that I first used Rogaine. And one of the reasons why Rogaine was a very oral minoxidil generic. I used Rogaine once or twice, but you can use the generic stuff. It is exactly the same formula, same concentration of minoxidil. You're just paying more money for the name brand for Rogaine. Um, I'm not pushing this product, but the cheapest minoxidil you can find is, I believe it's still Kirkland's Best. Just go on Amazon or eBay, and you can find a 6 month supply for about $20-25 somewhere in there. So, um, and for me, it's more like a year's supply because I don't do the 2 doses a day. I do one good dose at night, and because the drug itself lasts for like 22, 23 hours, so your hair is not going to like jump out of your scalp in the 2 hours that the minoxidil's worn off. So, um, yeah. So, anyways, again, use whatever brand you like. I'm not pushing or promoting anything. I'm just trying to tell you how cheap it is to actually start saving your hair or regrowing it. So, uh, quick thing I want to point out: when you get a box of Rogaine or any topical minoxidil, there's going to be an instruction pamphlet in there, and in that pamphlet, at least this used to be the case. I imagine it still is. There was a nice little drawing of a man going bald on top of his head, and the instructions said that this product was to help people with male pattern baldness. Okay, well, I never had male pattern baldness. In fact, as bald as I ever got, the top of my head, the crown, right, where some men do go bald, that was always nice and thick. So, I mean, maybe a little thinner or whatever. It's kind of hard to tell, but definitely not bald. So I wasn't balding there really. It was just the front, the temples, the widow's peak, top of my scalp, obviously going thin and hair falling out. But never had male pattern baldness. Not in that sense. So the reason why it says that is because it legally has to. All right. When they discovered that minoxidil, which is a blood pressure drug for treating blood pressure, high blood pressure, hypertension, which I have, when they found out that that was causing patients to regrow hair, there was eventually like an FDA-approved study commissioned, and in the study they used men who have or had male pattern baldness. So legally, they have to say that this product, you know, is intended for men with male pattern baldness because that's what they used in the sample. It's really weird if you study a lot of these FDA approved products, you'll find out, and this is how we get so many so many bad drugs approved by the FDA. They do like one relatively small study, and that's it. They base 20, 30 years of sales on this one study that may not even be a good study. So um anyways, so I digress. So I would stop and start because I wasn't seeing the results that some of the other people were seeing. I was getting about like maybe 10% of my hair back. And remember, your hair is thinning the entire time, even while you're using this. So getting 10% back, a couple of years pass, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going bald. Like, so then you stop taking it, and then you really go bald. Then you see where you really are with your hair, without the drugs, without the assistance, and it's shocking. So I'm sharing that with you because what happened was I became hospitalized. I was keeping it short, trimmed, buzzed basically for like 15 years, and then I became hospitalized. Many of you already know this story. I had a severe diabetic infection. I had to have multiple surgeries, sepsis, which is a blood infection. I had necrotic tissue inside me, so they had to do multiple surgeries. They had to keep going in and making sure that they got all the dead tissue out and everything. And they had to get my blood infections and whatnot under control with antibiotics. And I had no medical history, so they literally just threw every antibiotic in the book at me. So um, they even joked about it. They're like, "That's one hell of a cocktail they're pumping in you," because they were trying to save my life. I was gonna die, and anyways, so this happened, and because of the diabetes, I was overweight, and they can't feed you during surgeries. They don't want you urinating or defecating while you're under, so they starve you like the day before. So, they were essentially starving me to get my weight under control, to get my blood sugar under control, and that's why my hair looks as bad as it does in that picture. Part of that is um, probably poor nutrition. I don't know. They did have an IV in me, but that was the first time I saw my hair again without the benefit of any assistance, and it was horrifying. When you're gradually losing it, it's kind of hard to tell how much you've lost, where you're at, and then you're hospitalized and you don't really have access to any of those drugs, and you kind of see where you're at. So, um, anyways, long story short, while I was in the hospital, okay, so basically, as a little recap so far, I know I'm being a little long-winded here. I was on 1 milligram finasteride through Hims with topical minoxidil, generic topical minoxidil daily, and I was overall happy, just happy that my head wasn't super shiny or anything like that. That I had a little fuzz up there, little dark fuzz, I should say. And then I became hospitalized and lost everything, So, um, but then I was able to get on oral finasteride because I complained of urinary issues, and finasteride is a common treatment for a large prostate. And I'm getting into that age where guys need to be checked, I guess, fairly regularly. And my doctor was nice enough to prescribe that for me without a checkup. So I still have my I still have my chastity. What? I still have my what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my god. Um, Celibacy. Anyways, I'm still intact. There we go. But anyways, sorry, I'm a goofball. So I got on oral finasteride, 5 milligrams a day. I also managed to get on oral minoxidil, which, like I said earlier, is a blood pressure treatment medication. And so now I will warn you, I was on 10 milligrams a day and I was just fine. A little bit higher heart rate, but the trade off was, it was reducing my blood pressure significantly, about 20 points, 20-25 points. So along with other medications, I was having a pretty regular blood pressure, um, about around 130 over 80, which is fairly typical for a guy my age. Still a little high, but not terrible for an older diabetic. So anyway, so oral finasteride, oral minoxidil. Once I got up and out of bed, I started using topical minoxidil as well. And then a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, she showed me some pictures of her with her hairline, and not just her hairline, but around the temples. What would be the sideburn sides, for guys. I don't know what you call it. I guess that's the temples, but anyways, back of her head, and she was suffering really bad hair loss. Like, it was very patchy, and it was brought on by COVID. So she had a really bad case of COVID that cost her sense of smell, and it devastated her hair. And for a woman, that's horrible. It's bad enough for a guy. It's even worse for a woman because guys are expected to go bald, but women just look freakish, with patchy hair loss to a lot of people, and people are just mean, I think, as well. But anyways, so here we're getting further into my regimen. She introduced me to dermarolling, right? And for those that don't know, a dermaroller is basically a wheel um, with these surgical steel needles on it that you roll across your scalp. Now, it sounds super painful, and it's not comfortable. I'm doing it every other day now. I do a day, and then I take a day off or 2 days off, and then I do a day. You're supposed to do it, they say, like once or twice a week at the most. So me doing it every other day, I'm doing it about 3 times a week. So it's uh, it's not it's not that big a deal to do it every other day. But I'm actually seeing some really good results now. The way a derma roller works, right? Um, some people use them for their face. It's a good treatment for acne. But the way it works, excuse me, try not to hiccup on the microphone. The way it works scientifically is you're puncturing the very top layer of your skin. Now, some people go crazy with this and they get, 1.5, 2 millimeter needles that actually draw blood. I'm not that crazy. I'm doing zero point 0.5. And I used a zero point 0.3 for my hair for months and saw no results. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use the zero point 0.5. I'm going to go a little deeper. I'm a big baby. Nobody wants to inflict pain on themselves. But I gotta say, it's not as bad as you think it would be. And even with a zero point 0.5 derma roller, you're not drawing blood. The skin will look a little pinkish, it'll look a little irritated, but you're not getting deep enough to get those large blood vessels. You're really just puncturing like capillaries, which are going to close as soon as the needle is removed because of pressure. It's the surrounding pressure of the skin. So there's no blood. At most, like I said, the skin gets like a little pinkish tint to it. So and there's if you Google it, there's studies that suggest that the zero point 0.5 milligram derma roller is the optimal. I saw a study where they tested different lengths, and like zero point 0.3, no results because it's not getting down into the follicle. It's got to get into that follicle and damage it a little bit. I kind of lost my train of thought. I was going to say this is how the derma roller works, but we'll cover that now. So the wheel with the needles on it. I'm gonna put a picture up of a derma roller, just in case I haven't already. But it's a wheel with all these little spikes on it, and it's puncturing the skin. And what that does is it's using the human body's natural defense system and natural autoimmune healing capabilities, because that little puncture, well, that makes white blood cells rush to the area. It increases collagen production, which is why people like to use it for their face, because it makes them look younger, It treats acne. You're basically injuring your skin a little bit to improve the quality of it, and it's been scientifically proven to work. Like I said, I didn't see any hair results at point 0.3, but then I switched to a point 0.5, and what it's doing for a while there, I thought it was just improving existing hair because it is, but what it's doing is it's the hair that is on top of my head. This is how I repair my pickaxe, by the way. So I got mending on it. So nice mob generation. If you go to the top, if you go 100 blocks up, come back down, really kicks this thing into high gear. What was I gonna say? Shoot, losing my train of thought. So yeah, but no, it definitely does work. You just gotta stick with it. I personally use the topical minoxidil right after I do it because it doesn't sting. You would think it would sting because minoxidil is largely alcohol, but that and it has a nice sterilizing effect as well. But it's like I said, my Dermaroller is only 0.5 millimeters. It's not getting deep enough to actually cause real wounds. So um, with the topical minoxidil though, it does leave. Like I thought I had dandruff there for a while because it does create flakes, um, but it's just minoxidil flakes. So don't worry about that. It's not giving you dandruff. But I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that everyone listening to this has some success with their hair recovery journey. So thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna want to take a hike.